What's going on, guys? It's Joe here, Bountiful Gardens, Hillsboro. I'm back from the beach, the kids are back in school, and now it's time for us to get back in our gardens and prepare for some fall planting. This week, we're keeping the flower show going with 3 more late blooming perennials that can shepherd in fall with some festive colors and fluffy textures. We're rolling out that red carpet for ironweed, goldenrod, and anemone. Hey, do you hear that? Sounds like knowledge is knocking. If you're looking for a plant to give you multi-seasonal interest in that consistently moist area in your garden, look no further than ironweed. In spring, this perennial emerges with strong stalks that form a bush-like appearance with all this narrow foliage, which gives it an amazing presence from spring through the summer. End of the summer going into fall, this plant gets topped with hundreds, if not thousands, of these purple flowers that adorn the plant going all the way through until middle of October. And then as fall transitions into winter, you get another added attraction as all of these leaves take on a beautiful purple color before they fall off. Through the winter, these seed heads will stay on and feed many different types of insects and birds alike. There aren't too many plants that get this many flowers with this color, especially at this time of the year. This is why ironweed is the perfect addition to your fall garden.
This week, we're talking about one of my favorite late summer blooming perennials, Vernonia, also known as ironweed. We have 3 main types here at Bountiful Gardens. We've got the threadleaf, we've got the sandhill, and we've also got the New York. The main difference between the 3 ironweeds that we have here at Bountiful Gardens is that the narrow-leaf ironweed gets about 24 to 36 inches tall and wide, and it prefers drier to average soils. The sandhill ironweed gets about 2 to 4 feet tall and 2 to 3 feet wide, and it prefers drier to droughty soils. Then we have the New York ironweed, which gets about 2 to 9 feet tall and 2 to 4 feet wide. This plant prefers moist soils and can handle even standing water.
We're lucky enough to have a native meadow right behind our store, so we can check out all these fascinating perennials at their peak form. This is a New York ironweed, and it's massive. It's been getting all the sun and water that it needs, so it can reach incredible heights. Ironweed is a great addition to your perennial garden. Like the name suggests, the stems are really strong, so it works well as a feature plant in the back of the garden that won't get knocked over by wind. Medicinally, it's been used for cramps, aches and pains, and even as a blood cleanse by using the leaves in a tea. And since the stems are so strong, it was used as bedding or even to weave baskets.
Ironweed is such a gorgeous plant with so much to offer for your landscape. You should really bring these bursts of color into your fall palette this year. Up next is one of the most important native plants for your natural landscape, goldenrod. Let's take a look at what makes this perennial so special. At the end of summer, sometimes landscapes start to take on a little bit of a dull appearance with your summer flowers starting to fade. So if you really want to try to brighten up that one dry spot in your garden, goldenrod might be the perfect plant for you to choose. Although commonly confused with ragweed, goldenrod does not cause seasonal allergies, though you will see it growing just about everywhere in native meadows and along roadsides. I just love when the goldenrod starts to bloom because to me it's perfect transition from summer into fall. And this plant also gives us winter interest as well, as these flowers turn into seed heads and give you that nice poofy appearance throughout the winter. Beautiful native plant to add to any garden. Go get yourself some goldenrod today.
Nothing screams fall more than goldenrod, and it's a must-have plant for any native garden. Goldenrods prefer full sun to partial sun and can get about 2 to 6 feet tall. We have over 12 kinds of goldenrods here at Bountiful Gardens, and some, like our wrinkle-leaf goldenrod, prefer moist to wet soils. However, we have some, like our field goldenrod, that prefer drier to droughty soils. Goldenrods are an incredibly important species here in New Jersey and all over the United States, as they are one of the last flowers to bloom before bees go into hibernation. Some species start blooming as early as mid-July, but some can bloom as late as the end of November. So this is a super important plant as its nectar feeds the bees right before they go into hibernation.
Goldenrod is a stunning perennial with blazing yellow flowers that'll scream out from your perennial garden. Like Joe said, it's commonly confused with ragweed, but there's actually a pretty big difference. For one, goldenrod is actually an antihistamine. It combats your allergies instead of causing them. You can use the leaves and flowers in a tea or tincture that'll help to reduce inflammation and congestion. You can use it as a mouthwash, as a gut cleanse. It has so many incredible benefits. It's a great thing to add to your perennial garden.
Like Dan said, we have over a dozen varieties of goldenrod here at Bountiful Gardens. And with so many heights, textures, and tolerances to choose from, you're sure to find a goldenrod that's perfect for your landscape. Wrapping up this week is a pollen-packed member of the buttercup family, anemones. Let's dive in. Generally in fall, the color palette tends to lead toward oranges and yellows, but if you're looking to keep things on the softer sides in sort of the pale pinks and purples, anemone is a great plant for you. One of the things that I particularly like about anemone or windflower, aside from these amazing flowers, is actually the leaves. These leaves are very different from many other perennial leaves in the fact that they're very, very large. To me, they look a little bit like a cross between a hellebore and a maple leaf, and you usually don't get this type of a leaf out of many perennials. Anemones can do well in full sun, but they do appreciate a little bit of an afternoon shade. So if you're looking to bring a little bit of that spring palette back to your fall garden, anemone is a great plant for you.
Japanese anemones are a staple for any cottage garden due to their beautiful late-season blooms, as well as the amount of interest they can provide, from whites, to pinks, magentas, purples, and even reds. Japanese anemones prefer full to partial sun and do well in moist, well-drained soil. As you can see, are beloved by bees. They get about 12 to 36 inches tall depending on the cultivar, and about 12 to 36 inches wide.
Anemones are a beautiful flowering perennial that make a colorful addition to any garden. Although they don't contain any nectar, they are plentiful in pollen, so pollinators can feed on them throughout the flowering season. And if you leave the seed heads on in winter, birds can feed on them as well. Their showy blooms and delicate little buds work wonderfully in cut flower arrangements too. Although they have been used medicinally as a sedative or anti-anxiety tincture, they're also slightly toxic to humans, so I would just enjoy these for the colorful blooms and the wildlife benefits they offer.
Whether you use them as a cut flower or let them stand for the birds and the bees, anemones make a great cold hardy addition to any garden. And now that you're filled with some fresh floral info, come on down to Bountiful Gardens Ewing, Lawrenceville, or right here in Hillsborough to pick out that perfect goldenrod, ironweed, or anemone for your garden, and we'll be here ready to help. Thanks again for joining us on yet another one of our deep dives. If you like what you're seeing, make sure you like this video and leave us a comment and let us know what plants you'd like to see next. And subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of this amazing content. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.